which is a PAC, and then also president of American Values and Educational Nonprofit. Gary, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, Ed and John, it's great to be with you, particularly with all the excitement here in Washington, D.C.
Well, I do want to get to that, and I want to just start off, though, with a little bit of a tangential discussion, and that is these World War II vets, these veterans who were visiting, who yesterday they stormed the World War II Memorial, which was shut down. They had barricades up. They pushed their way through. They're planning to do the same at the Lincoln Memorial today. And this is a very strange story because these are open-air memorials, and yet the federal government, I guess under orders from the Obama administration, has taken the time to put up barricades so people can't visit these memorials. This is just a strange story, but I also want to give a tip of the hat to these World War II veterans who have not only stormed beaches in World War II, but now are storming memorials.
That's a great summary. Under the rules of the government shutdown, the executive branch of government, the president, by law is given a tremendous amount of discretion and leeway over what they want to shut down, what they can continue to run in order to accommodate people and so forth. And just as they've done in the past over sequestration and other things, they're doing the shutdown in a way that intentionally inflicts as much pain on the American people as possible, all the while blaming conservatives in Congress for that pain. So for folks who have not been to Washington, the World War II Memorial is a plaza. You don't have to go into an elevator like you do in the Washington Monument in order to go up into the monument where you might need federal employees to run the elevator and so forth. All you do on the World War II Memorial is walk onto the plaza and read the beautiful tributes, historical tributes to the greatest generation. And this administration chose to try to close that. You're right. These 80 and 90-year-old men with their canes and walkers stormed it yesterday. This morning, hundreds of additional just average Americans showed up at the memorial, along with maybe a dozen conservative congressmen. And I'm told that, again, the park police all suddenly looked in the other direction and people went on to the memorial. But now there are reports that administration officials are telling other veterans groups that are scheduled to be here later in the week that if they come to the memorial, they'll be arrested.
Yeah, I read that this morning, tip of the hat to the Drudge Report. They're reporting that one group from Ohio was told when they were asking about their trip that they had been planning, that if they came, they would be arrested. And the person on the phone said, "Are you going to arrest 90 and 91-year-old veterans?" And they were told, "That's correct, sir." And then they asked for the name of the government official, and of course they hung up. This is a travesty, and really I don't care what side of the aisle you are, or what you think about the government shutdown / slim down. This is reaching in D.C. a level of absurdity that I think Americans of every political perspective can agree is unfathomable and shouldn't be tolerated.
Well, you're right, and look, I don't want to overlook this. Nothing that anyone in Congress has done, and there's plenty of reasons to criticize Congress, but nothing that anybody in Congress has done requires the president, the park police under his leadership, to close memorials like the World War II Memorial. There can only be one explanation for why this is being done, because they know it will outrage people, but they're assuming that people not paying too much attention to the news and not listening to shows like yours will think that this is happening because of these horrible conservatives in Congress that want to roll back Obamacare. when in fact this is totally within the purview of the president. If the president does not want the World War II memorial to be closed off to these veterans, immediately it will not be closed off. And the fact that it is still being closed off, and now members of the greatest generation are being threatened with arrest, is outrageous. And I hope we see more essentially civil disobedience as other Americans, grateful for the sacrifice of our fathers and grandfathers, stand with these vets.
We're talking to Gary Bauer, who's president of American Values, frequent guest here on